ನಾವಿರುವ ತಾಣವೇ ಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿ, ಅಂದದ ಗುಡಿ, ಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿ, ಚಂದದ ಗುಡಿ, ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಮಹಿಮಾ ಅರ್ಪಿಸುವ ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ.
ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆರ್ಜೆ ಪ್ರತಿಭಾ ಶ್ರೀಕಂಠಯ್ಯ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ, ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಕೂಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ 7ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಡೇ, ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ದಿನ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಪ್ರಾಯಶಃ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆಲ್ನೆಸ್ ಕೋಚ್ ಅರುಣಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅರುಣಾ ಅವ್ರನ್ನು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಹಾಯ್ ಅರುಣಾ, ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಶೋ. ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ.
Hi Pratibha, thank you so much for having me over.
So
wishing everybody a good World Health Day actually. So a little late, but better late than never.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, this is probably the most important days of all the days that we celebrate in a year. And ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ದ ವೆಲ್ತ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗಂತೂ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಾವು ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಂದ ಸೊ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ರು ನಾವು ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಪೇ ಮೋರ್ ಅಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ತಿನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಆಹಾರ, ದ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಕೆಲವು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟಿಪ್ಸ್ ನ ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅರುಣ ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಈಗ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಯಾವ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು, ಯಾವ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಟ್ಟದು ಅನ್ನೋಂತ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಾನ್ ಎರಡೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ದು ಅದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಮಿತ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಸೊ ಹಲವಾರು ಅಂತಹ ಮಿತ್ ನ ಕೂಡ ಇವತ್ತು ಡಿಬಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅರುಣಾ ಅವರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅರುಣಾ, ಟು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿಗಿನ್ ದ ಶೋ ವಿತ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ ಜರ್ನಿ ಆಸ್ ಎ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಿಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಹೇಳಿ, ಯು ಬೀನ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಓವರ್ ಎ ಡೆಕೇಡ್ ನೌ. ಸೊ ಹೇಗ್ ಅನ್ಸತ್ತೆ? ಅಂಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್, ನಾವು ತಿನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಫುಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ವೆಲ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜರ್ನಿ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ?
Sure, definitely. So then, the master's muguspittu, once I started working, I first started working with a multi-speciality hospital here in Bangalore. So, alli kelsa madbit next I moved on to a corporate setup and then to a sports nutrition clinic. So now currently I also work with a lot of athletes as well. So adadmelinda it's been about more than 6 years that I have started freelancing. So I've been in the business for more than 11 years now. So freelance madak shuru madi around 6 years ago. I think what has really changed, Pratibha, in the last 11 years is when I started off, Google was not the go-to thing for all of us. So nutrition bagge doubts ididre, I think probably back then people were very used to asking their doctors yen tinbeku yen tinbardu anta. I think that is the thing. But now it has changed for good actually. If you see Jana, they know that there is a nutritionist, there is a there are qualified dietitians and nutritionists who will help with sorting out your food and all of that. And there are exercise specialists who will help you with exercise ella. So the doctors also say namginta you go to a nutritionist anta. So that's the best part about being in the business or doing this for over a decade now. What has the small con of it is because of the easy reach of to look up everything over the internet athwa elladu agirodrinda athwa social media inda onensala people get actually convinced or probably they get confused because of so many things being talked about: health, food, nutrition, exercise elladu alva. So it's easy to kind of get carried away because of so much of overload of information. So if you see the journey from no Google to now the world of Google, it has definitely changed for health influencers for good, and sometimes there is a small con as well for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You put it out very well. So ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ರು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ರು ನಾವು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ. So every time we want to eat something, we just put it out in the Google and you get a plethora of information. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. And typically ನೀವು of course you deal with a lot of athletes as well. And ಈಗ ಜನರಲ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, so what is the kind of problem that the clients come to you with? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಜನರಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವ್ರ ಗೋಲ್ ಆಗಿರತ್ತಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಡು ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ಟಿಪಿಕಲಿ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಹತ್ರ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕಮ್? ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್, ಅಥವಾ ಜನರಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾರಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಜನರಲಿ ಈವನ್ ಇಫ್ ಸಂಬಡಿ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೆಲ್ದಿ, ಈಗ ಬಾಡಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್, ಆ ತರ ಬರೋ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರಾ? ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಆಫ್?
So it's a mixture of both, but I think awareness is still slightly lacking. People are still coming because there is a need. They do their blood work and they figure out that their probably lipid profile is off, their A1C, which is an average of 3-month blood sugar, is off. Athwa, they're coming because they're acting on their health because there is a need for it, or there is some sort of a alarm button there. Adrinda barta idare. There are also a lot of people who come because who say nan 40s bandidini, nanu medication tagolak ishta illa, my 40s and years from now on I want to lead it kind of disease free or with minimal complications anta baroru tumba jana idare. But still majority, if you ask me, come because there is a concern. It could be weight concern, it could be concern with their blood reports, or or they probably get influenced a lot by what they see on the social media and they want to be like that. They say I'm never too good to kind of look good on the social media tara. So they're like, okay, nan ishtu salpa sanna agbeku atara. You get all sorts of interesting people who come with very interesting goals actually.
I'm sure you deal with a lot of interesting clients as well, so we'll talk a bit more about that as well later. So ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅರುಣಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಲೈವ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಹಲವಾರು ಫುಡ್ ಟಿಪ್ಸ್ ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅರುಣಾ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ. ಅಂಡ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಎನಿ ಟಿಪ್ಸ್, ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಫುಡ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ನೀವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂಡ ಅರುಣಾ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ನೀವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೆಲಿಫೋನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 4089122479. ಸೊ ಅರುಣಾ, ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಯು. ಸೊ ನಾನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ ಹರ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ವೈಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೈಟ್ ಶುಗರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ವೈಟ್ ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೈಟ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಈಟ್ ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥದ್ದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹರ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೋರ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್? ಇಸ್ all the brown variants really healthy, athwa is it just a myth? Can you just talk a bit about that?
Yes, sure. I think it's a good question. It is definitely a myth. We need not have to differentiate food based only on the color to be very, very, if you have to put it simply that way. So the reason is, white ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಟೈನ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸರ್ ಟು ದ ರಾ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ವಿಚ್ ರಿಟೈನ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ started off was the reason why this whole confusion actually started. So white rice ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪಾಲಿಶ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಉಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, it will make you put on weight, increase your blood sugar levels ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Whereas start eating brown rice, it's higher in fiber, it retains a lot more vitamin B complex ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ. So that could be with the rice. With sugar, again, white sugar is very processed, whereas if it's the demi-rara, the brown sugar, then it's a lot more, closer to its natural form. So choose that. Atara with the sugar. But let me just give you one or two simple examples on explaining why this is not the right concept. For example, if somebody is having a lot of gut issues, when I say gut issues, it could be, say, bloating or acidity, gastric, constipation, any of the gut issues, then doing a lot of brown foods or foods which are really high in fiber, you're doing a lot of brown rice all the time, you're doing a lot of millets all the time, or any sort of complex carbohydrates or grains which are very, very unprocessed or higher in fiber can further affect your gut health, because your body cannot take as much, that much of fiber intake. Plus, the gut issue is because there is sort of what we call as an imbalance in the gut bacteria. We have good bacteria, bad bacteria in our system. So because the good levels are on the lower side, the bad ones are on the higher side. That's why there's sort of a gut issue. You are probably worsening it by doing a lot of high fibrous foods that your gut is not able to take, leading to not just worsening of your symptoms, but also very, very importantly, it hinders the micronutrient absorption. So, ಈಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇರೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ vitamin B12 being low, vitamin D being low, and most of the women suffering from low iron levels. So, all of these get worsened further if they're having a very high fiber diet along with bad gut health. Because ಏನೇ ತರ ನೀವು ವೈಟಮಿನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಫುಡ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಏನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಗುಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಅದ್ರ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ನೀವು ತುಂಬಾ ರಾಂಗ್ ಫುಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ it will only further, it becomes like a cycle where your gut health is bad, you're not able to absorb your vitamins and minerals, and your health is not going to get better. So do not do that if you especially have bad gut health. Now coming to the just another simple example of brown sugar versus white sugar, what I have also seen personally is white sugar is a lot more sweeter compared to brown sugar. So coffee ge nivella coffee athwa tea ge ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಪೂನ್ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಹಾಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ, ವೈಟ್ ಶುಗರ್ ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ಪೂನ್ ಹಾಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ದು, ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಶುಗರ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 ಸ್ಪೂನ್ ಸಾಲೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ 2 ಸ್ಪೂನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಶುಗರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, your overall sugar consumption is going to go high. You are thinking that it is brown, so I'm actually doing good to your body. No, calorie wise, brown, white, honey, jaggery, everything else has almost similar calories that it gives to your body. So if you're doing 2 spoons of brown sugar instead of 1.5 spoon of white sugar, you can decide for yourself that you're not doing the right way. So choose your sweeteners wisely. If you're doing the same amount of sugar, white ಮತ್ತೆ brown ಯಾವುದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು same amount of sugar ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ then it may really not make so much of sense. But sugar ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it is of no use. So this is how you start choosing your sweeteners wisely, or it could be your grains wisely. The same holds good for bread. There's a lot of color added to your brown bread, and it need not literally be multigrain as they claim. So just start going through the ingredients and be a little more wiser in your choices.
Okay, that makes sense. And since we are talking about idu sugar and the sweetness alva, so one ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ most of the processed foods ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು the fructose syrup is added alva, high corn fructose syrup. So adರಲ್ಲಿ how should we actually read a label alva, ಎಷ್ಟು fructose idre we should avoid? Is there any particular level or something like that?
See, good one. See, ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು if you want to choose a processed food which holds very this is very, very practical and applicable for people especially living outside India, because we resort to a lot of processed foods or foods that come out of a packet, right? So if you want to choose a food which is low in sugar, or for example even low in salt for that matter, look for the ingredient list. ನಿಮಗೆ HFCS comes in various names. So high fructose corn syrup comes in various names that you wouldn't even realize. Okay, sometimes even the experts can't figure out that it's actually a sugar derivative, because every day there's a newer name that's coming out in the market. So what you do is, look for the first 3 to 5 ingredients. If it's a long list of ingredients, then look for about the first 5 ingredients. If it's just about say 5-6 ingredients, look for the first 3 ingredients. If the first 3 ingredients has what you want it to have, say for example, if you're choosing a cookie and it says multigrain, so if the first 2-3 ingredients has some of the other grains listed in it, then you're safe to go for it. That means that sugar is not the basic ingredient in the cookie. Okay, the same holds good even for salt. For example, if you're picking up a wafer, or for example if you're picking up some sort of a sauce or a lemonade or whatever it is, and if the first 2 or 3 ingredients doesn't have sodium in it or some form of salt derivative in it, then you're good to go. There will be sodium, there will be sugar in every processed food, because that becomes like a preservative. But if it comes in the first 2-3 ingredients, that means that's the major component or the base of the product. So that's what you need to be avoiding.
That is actually a very good tip. Thank you for that. So, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅರುಣಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ. So, Aruna is one of the most sought out nutritionist and wellness coach ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, and she's also a content creator for one of the leading health apps in India. So, ನಿಮ್ಗೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅರುಣಾ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೀವು ನಮ್ಮ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಅಸ್ ಆನ್ ಅವರ್ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಅಸ್. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 408-912-2479. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ ಜನ ನನ್ಗೆ ಕೆಲವ್ರು ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕಳ್ಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸ್ವರ್ಣ. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಡ್ ಟು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಪಿಕ್ ಅ ಫ್ಯೂ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಾಟ್ ಆಸ್ ವೆಲ್. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಇಂಟೇಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇನು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಬಟ್ ಒಂದ್ ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋಂಥದ್ದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಬಿಗ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಐದರ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಡಯಾಬೆಟಿಕ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೀ ಡಯಾಬೆಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಇಂಟೇಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಮೈಂಡ್ಫುಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಒಂದು ಥಾಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೈ ಇನ್ ಶುಗರ್, ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಇವನ್ ಪೈನಾಪಲ್ ಆ ತರ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯೋರ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಆನ್ ದಟ್? ಸೊ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐ actually eat in a day, and what is the best time to consume fruit? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಸಂಜೆ ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ನಾಕ್ ತರ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ, ಅಥವಾ ರಾತ್ರಿ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಟು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ?
Yeah, this is one of the most commonly asked question, because everybody is confused ಯಾವಾಗ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಬರೀ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಊಟದ ಬದಲು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ತಿನ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ. See, fruits though are great for our body. They're very good in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, flavonoids, you name it, it has it all. So the thing is, you definitely cannot overdo it though. Just because it's a good thing for you to have, do not overdo it. So what do I mean by that? In summers, we'll just put it in a very, very simple way so that it becomes like a thumb rule. So even a common man can start, using it or applying it into their daily life. So if it says summer, you can do about 2 fruits a day, for example. Just keep it as simple as that. In winter, your body doesn't need so many fruits, okay? Because winter is all about probably taking care of your immunity, keeping you warm, and all of that. So winter is more to do with good fats. A lot of people who eat non-veg, they can include good amount of non-veg, or vegetarians tumba kaalalu, sprouts galu. These are your winter foods. So in summer is when you can actually do 2 to maximum 3 fruits a day. So limit it to 2 fruits. I think you're doing good if you're doing about 2 a day. Now, when can you have? Avoid it as a meal in itself. Your body needs a lot more in a meal. When I say a meal, it could be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your body cannot just do with fruits. So don't do fruits for a major meal. Do fruits either say on waking up, or do it in between a meal. So ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಂಡಿ, ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಊಟದ ಮಧ್ಯ 11 ಗಂಟೆ ಯೂಶಲಿ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಶ್ವಾಗ್ಬೋದು. So especially ಇವಾಗ work from home situation ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, we definitely tend to look out for something. So instead of eating anything and everything, or going and having a cup of coffee or tea, you could just do a fruit at that time. That's the best time to have. You can have it on waking up. So now it's about 6:50 in the morning, right, here in India. So I just started my day with a banana. So that's the best time to have a fruit. As soon as you wake up, you're in a fasting period for about 10 to 12 hours. So giving your body good, a fruit at that time helps in great absorption and assimilation of the nutrients that the fruit gives you. So avaga belage ಎದ್ದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ತಿನ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಊಟ ತಿಂಡಿ ಮಧ್ಯ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಊಟ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಊಟದ ಮಧ್ಯ around 4-5 o'clock ಆ ತರ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋಬಹುದು. So to sum it up, have about 2-3 fruits a day if it's summer. Keep it on waking up or in between meals. Avoid having it with the meal.
Okay, so iವಾಗ diabetic ಅಥವಾ pre-diabetic ಇರೋರು, is there any particular fruit that they need to avoid?
I missed that question. Sure. No. There's no fruit that they need to be avoiding. Actually, please, it's all a myth that you can't eat a mango, you can't eat chiku, you can't eat jackfruit. It's all a big myth. Because just eating sugar, just eating a fruit will not make anybody diabetic or worsen the diabetes level. So diabetes it's a hormonal dysfunction. So it's got to do with everything related to your body. So starting from say your micronutrient levels to your exercise to the way you eat, how much you eat, when you eat. So diabetes is a lot to do with everything else than just avoiding sugary fruits, is what people assume it. Otherwise, if you ask me, the fruit sugar content in every fruit is almost the same. So the glycemic index does not really vary as widely as people say it does. Okay, it's just on the quantity. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋನ ನಾವ್ ಯಾರು ಅರ್ಧ ಪೀಸ್ ತಿನ್ನಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಆಪಲ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಧ ತಿನ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುಮ್ಮನಾಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ಸೀಸನ್ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ, ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಬರೋದಂತ 2 ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ತಿಂತೀವಿ. That is why it's termed to be bad. Otherwise, if you are again mindful of how many mangoes you eat, it should not really harm you. So, choose your portions wisely. Do not overdo it and do not mix it with the meal. Then everybody can eat every other food, provided there is no sort of a kidney issue where they're saying, you don't do high potassium foods and things like that. So other than that, if it's diabetes, weight management, PCOS, you can eat every fruit.
Okay, that is a wonderful tip. And coming to my question on diabetic ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಇವನ್ ಇನ್ ದ US or anywhere else in the world for that matter, a lot of people are actually pre-diabetic or diabetic. And ivaga they say that 40 is the new 60 anta alva. Munche ella okay 60 plus ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ they were diagnosed with diabetes, but ivaga 30s 40s even late 20s ಅಲ್ಲಿ people are actually on the border, right? So ಈಗ people on the pre-diabetic ಅಥವಾ people actually looking to control diabetic, what is your tip to actually make sure that they don't?
So yes, that's a good question. I think if I have to give you 2-3 tips on that, the first one is to keep moving. Being diabetic and diabetic because of movement has really gone down. Nanagu starting probably lockdown gela hodaga, that's what I realized, that when I was probably going out for work, I was always on my toes, correct? So probably my intake was based on how much of activity I was doing. So please move a lot more than what you're doing. Do not resort to emotional eating, boredom eating, stressful eating. That is what is causing all of that. You're bored. If you're alone, you feel like eating something. You're stressed. Okay, let me just grab something to eat. So emotion ಮತ್ತೆ ಊಟ ಎರಡು combine ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ we are just eating a lot more than what our body requires, and that's what is leading to a lot of circulating blood sugar levels or triglyceride levels, all of that. So do not do that. And then definitely if you can eat lesser out of a packet, that's a great way to go for it. It could be starting from children, because I'm seeing a lot of teens who are in their pre-diabetic level or even diabetic level, a lot of insulin resistance in teenagers. So all of that is because papa ಅವರು ಬೋರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, activity ಇಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ತಿಂತಾರೆ. ಏನ್ ತಿಂತಾರೆ? They're eating out of a packet. That again becomes like a vicious cycle. So if you can avoid all of these, include a lot more movement and some sort of a physical activity, I think that's just, though lifestyle management need not be very complex or something that we don't understand. It just starts from as simple as taking an hour, a break every 1 hour once you are working. So it can just be such small modifications, but that will definitely take them a long way in preventing diabetes. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಓ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೇಲಿ ನಮ್ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಡಯಾಬಿಟಿಸ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೂ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸಾರಿ, it has a role to play, but just because your family had diabetes does not mean you're also going to turn diabetic very soon. So it's like you're only preparing your body to turn diabetic if you're not acting on it. So do not wait until you reach there.
Okay, that's a wonderful tip. Thank you for that. So Aruna, so I'll just take a couple of questions. So actually a couple of people had actually posted the questions offline to me. So one question ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, consumption of dairy products. ಇವಾಗ there is so much buzz on social media and everywhere else going vegan and avoiding animal based products, be it meat ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, and even for vegetarians consuming dairy products, milk, curd and paneer especially. And ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ specifically one question was regarding having PCOS and can I actually have dairy products when I have PCOS anta?
So that's a good question. So yes, I think the first question that you asked, ಯಾವ ತರ ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಇವಾಗ, who are the ones who are interested in nutritionally. I'm meeting a lot of women, probably almost 40 to 50% of my clientele are women coming with PCOS and its related complications. Either probably, the ones who are not planning pregnancy are wanting to lose weight because of PCOS, or the ones who want to have a baby are finding it very difficult to have one. The fertility levels are kind of affected because of PCOS, or postpartum, they're again finding it difficult to lose weight and get back to, on their foot and, moving and all that because of PCOS and weight gain. So this is one of the most common concerns that women are going through, coupled with hypothyroidism also. Then it becomes, they're like, oh, nang thyroid ಇದೆ, ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಗಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ಸ್ ಇರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ PCOS ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲದು ಫುಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ಪ್ಯಾಕೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ. I think, and some women come and say this very interesting thing: should I avoid dairy because I have PCOS? Because what is dairy? It's just sugar at the end of the day. I'm like, yavaga dairy was just, narrowed down to sugar is what I keep wondering, because there's hardly about 5% of, lactose, which is the milk sugar, if I can put it in a very simple way. So it's only 5% of dairy is made up of milk sugar or lactose. So your dairy is not just sugar. If whoever thinks that, oh, dairy is just about sugar, no, sorry, it is not. So now coming back, if they have to avoid so where did this whole thing come from, Pratibha? Andre, ಡೈರಿ ಬರೀ ಶುಗರು. ಸೊ ಶುಗರ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ PCOS ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಓವೇರಿಯನ್ ಸಿಂಡ್ರೋಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಡೂ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ವೇ ಆದಾಗ PCOS ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾಮನ್ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕಲ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಡೈರಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ಶುಗರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಸುಲಿನ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಶುಡ್ ಐ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಡೈರಿ ಅಂತ. So if we understand the logic behind the saying, only 5% of your dairy consists of milk sugar, then the whole concept is actually taken away, that your dairy is not just sugar. It may not really worsen your insulin resistance. Now, who should avoid dairy if they have PCOS? If they have a lot of acne, for example, and they're doing a lot of dairy products, which is further increasing the sebum production, the face is turning really oily, leading to a lot of cystic acne and ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, eliminate and see if it's improving. If it's not improving, there is no point. I would say do a blood test. That's my favorite way. Somebody is gluten intolerant, somebody is lactose intolerant, get a blood test done, check if you're really allergic to it, then it makes sense in avoiding it. Or if you're having issues, ನನಗೆ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡಿದಾಗ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ನೋವುತ್ತೆ, I feel like using the washroom every now and then, that means there's a clear intolerance. You need not even go for a blood test. So until and unless you have such clinical symptom or the blood test says you're lactose intolerant, there is no reason why you have to avoid it, honestly speaking. Again, provided you're not overdoing it. You're not having a glass of milk 3 times a day and just your entire food is overpowered by dairy products. That's when you're definitely overdoing. Just like not to overdo fruits, the same way this is how it is. But if you're not doing that, you're adding a cup of katori of curd athwa raita athwa there's a little bit of milk with your coffee and tea, and it's not affecting you, then I don't think you should really avoid it. Again, PCOS, like diabetes, is something to do with your hormones. So take care of your lifestyle than just avoiding dairy or just avoiding fruits.
Okay, wonderful. So, next question was about thyroid issues. Is there any particular vegetable that one needs to avoid? Anta? So, is there any
that's the common thing that they get to hear, saying that cruciferous vegetables nella avoid madbidi, gobi, cabbage, broccoli ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ avoid madbidi ಅಂತ. See, if they do have something called goitrogens, which might probably affect the way either your medication works or the way your thyroid gland is functioning. So what you can definitely do is cook these vegetables really well. Don't have like a which has a lot of cabbage in it, but anyway, these cruciferous vegetables can't be had raw, unlike cucumber or onion, tomato and all of that, right? So if you're cooking these vegetables well, there is no problem in including them. But definitely remember, variety is the key. You can't eat a cruciferous vegetable every single day and think you're doing anything good to your body. So let there be variety. If you're including it once or twice a week, cooked really well, there is really no problem with that. Please include them. Don't have them raw for sure.
Okay, wonderful. So I had one more question coming from online friends, was regarding egg consumption. So especially for vegetarians, protein is very important. So egg consumption, how many eggs can I eat per day? And adrallu again, is there any specific benefit of eating brown eggs over white eggs anta? Somebody
Good.
had
So
asked.
yeah, so I can't tell how many eggs can the person eat because it depends on a lot of factors, starting from their age to their weight to their activity levels. How do their protein levels look as per the blood reports? There are multiple things. If you're doing a full egg, which includes the yolk and the yellow, every single day, you're doing a great job. Go ahead and do that. There is no reason why you have to avoid the yolk, or including a whole egg every day with breakfast, which is a very common thing to do in a lot of vegetarian houses or even non-vegetarian houses, especially for breakfast. Go ahead and do that. You're doing very good to your system. There is no problem with yolk. Again, if you're limiting it to 1 or 2 a day, there is absolutely no problem unless you're very, you're healthy or you do not have any medical condition where the doctor has specifically asked you to avoid it. Now, coming to brown versus yellow, white, there is really no change in the nutritional profile between the two. The brown eggs are supposed to be free range eggs. I mean, the eggs coming out of chicken who are not probably bred in a very confined space, ಅಥವಾ ಆ ತರ breed ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರೋಂತ ಇದರಿಂದ ಬರೋದನ್ನ brown eggs ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಅದು free range eggs ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ which may not really have a lot of hormones ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. But there is again no standard that is being followed between the two. And sometimes the brown can be actually very, very ತುಂಬಾ strong flavors ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, which not everybody would enjoy. So please don't force yourself to have something which you do not enjoy. If you're sure that your brown eggs are definitely coming from free range chicken and all of that, and you want to have that, go ahead. Otherwise, nutritionally, for me, it really doesn't make so much of a difference between the white and the brown.
Okay, that's a wonderful tip. Thank you so much. So ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಲೈವ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅರುಣಾ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಲೈವ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಲೂಬಹುದು ನಮ್ಮ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎನಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಅಸ್ at 408-912-2479. ಸೊ ಅರುಣಾ, ನನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಇದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಯಾವ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಹೆಲ್ತ್ಗೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಲೈಕ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಆಯಿಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಏನು? ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಹೆಲ್ದಿಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್?
Yes. So Indian style of cooking, again, people keep asking, is desi ghee okay? Manel madiro tuppa athwa tuppa is okay? Absolutely okay. So please go ahead and do that. Now, coming to oil choices, choose your oil that comes from a nut or an oil seed based. What do I mean by that? If you're doing, say, for example, South Indian cooking, groundnut oil goes the best. Correct? It blends really well. It enhances the flavor of your food. So you should choose oil from nuts and oil seeds also because it enhances the flavor of your food. It makes the food a lot more satiating. It makes the food a lot more flavorful and tastier. So do that. Groundnut oil, coconut oil, probably people who are okay to use mustard oil and til oil, you can use all of these. These are I'm talking about the sources that come from nuts and oil seeds. Now, what are the kind of oils that you should not be choosing is the ones that come from plant-based sources only. Say, for example, your rice bran, your sunflower, safflower, all of that. Now, they were never meant to be oil sources, right? So I find it a little funny when people choose filtered, refined oil, which has fortification. So, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳ್ಳೆದ್ನು ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಫೋರ್ಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬದಲು choose filtered oil, which retains all of your essential fat soluble vitamins, which does not need fortification because it has naturally retained its goodness in it, vitamin A, D, E, K, and all of that. So coming back, choose oil from nuts and oil seed based sources. Choose filtered over refined. You do not want, oil should not be flavorless, odorless, colorless, which adds no taste to the food. That is when 1 spoon oil use ಮಾಡೋ ಕಡೆ 4 spoon use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಎನ್ಹಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟು ಎನ್ಹಾನ್ಸ್ ದ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಕೀಟೋ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಯು ಡೂ ನಾಟ್ ಓವರ್ ಈಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫುಡ್. ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್ fulka over chapati, probably one chapati. I'm not endorsing either of it. All I'm trying to tell you is that the moment there is fat in your food, you feel satiated with even smaller portions. If you're looking at cutting down on your portion, bring in the good fat from the right sources. Okay. Avoid vegetable oil, avoid refined oils, go for filter oils. Now, you can definitely use ghee, like I said, and rotation oil. It depends. So, say for example, if I'm doing a bangan fry, which really goes well with, if I use mustard oil, then I should probably be using that. If I'm making idli, if I'm making dosa chapati, which uses groundnut oil, go ahead and do that. If I'm doing tadka with ghee for a dal, then that's the best format. So you choose your oil based on the kind of food you're doing. If I'm doing a salad dressing, I should definitely use a cold pressed extra virgin olive oil that way. So this is how you rotate. You cannot mix it literally at home, but start choosing oil. If you're somebody who does a lot of, different cuisines at home, start choosing oil based on what food you're doing. So that's a good way to mix it up.
Okay, that's wonderful. And ನನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಗ್ರೀಡಿಯಂಟ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಸೌತ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಟ್ನಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸಾಂಬಾರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೊ ಎನಿ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕರಿ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್, ಸೊ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿವ್ಲಿ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪರ್ಸನಲಿ ರೆಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ತಿನ್ನೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕೊಲೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಮಿತ್ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಆನ್ ಅ ಡೈಲಿ basis in our cooking?
Please use coconut on a daily basis in your cooking if you're used to it. If you're making foods which needs coconut, please go ahead and have that. Now we have a lot of theories stating that the medium chain triglycerides in coconut is great for your heart health, for a baby's brain development, to managing diabetes, to every sort of condition you can think of. So it's all to do with, so instead of buying your MCT oil or doing a bulletproof coffee and things like that, you're better off doing coconut with your chutney and sambar and palya, poriyal, all of that. So there is no problem. Just having coconut is not going to increase anybody's cholesterol. So please go ahead and have that. Be definitely use it based on what is really required. By the way, now that in India we are having the season of mangoes, amras with coconut milk in it or grated coconut in it is a great way to manage the glycemic index of a food. So if somebody says, Mavin Handinda Rasayana athwa amras is what we call it, right? Is it bad anta heluvaga? If you're just adding a spoon of ghee to it or coconut milk which blends really well with it, go ahead and do that if you're diabetic and wants to, if you're looking at managing your blood sugar levels. So there is no problem using coconut.
Okay, that is wonderful. And ನನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಓಕೆ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಕಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆನ್ ರೈಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಓನ್ಲಿ ಈಟ್ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸಿರಿಧಾನ್ಯಗಳು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ನವಣೆ, ಸಜ್ಜೆ, ಆರ್ಕ ಅಂತ, ಊದಲು ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಲೈಕ್ ಇವಾಗ ಕುಡೋಸ್ ಮಿಲೆಟ್, ಬಾರ್ನ್ಯಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಿಲೆಟ್, quinoa and all those kind of things. So how useful they are to include in our diet. So if you're substituting that with rice, or even if you're mixing a portion of rice and maybe a millet, so is it going to be useful, athwa is it overhyped than what they really claim anta?
Okay. So that's a good question. And so before I proceed, sometimes I get a lot of people who say, Arina, I should be eating, quinoa, or should I be adding a lot of millets to my diet? I'm like, okay, so fine, let's figure that out, Antini. I'm like, have you ever eaten ragi? What do you think? Oh, no, ragi. And probably if somebody in and around Bangalore is very used to traditionally and culturally eating ragi and its products, right? They're like, oh, illa ragi tinadilla, I'm okay to eat millets. I'm like, ragi is also a millet. If you're eating jowar and bajra or ragi, they're also millets. Okay, so we were always used to eating millets, just that it wasn't marketed to this extent. So that's the whole idea. Now, coming back, millets are great source of vitamin B complex, fiber, all of that. But remember, go back to what we discussed initially. It's similar to brown rice. If you have a lot of gut issues, millets are very high in fiber. ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು, ಅಕ್ಕಿಗಿಂತ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ ಕುಕ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟದ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಸೋಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನೀರಿಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕುಕ್ಕರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಆ ತರದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಲಾಂಗರ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಕುಕ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಟು ರೈಸ್. ಸೊ that just tells us that it's not as easy on your gut as that of rice. So if you have gut issues, doing a lot of millets can only worsen it. Now, if you're somebody who gets very hungry quickly, ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ ಹಶ್ವಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, including millets is a great way to manage your portion size, also keep you fuller for a longer time. So definitely go ahead and have that. So do millets, you can do a variety, ದಿನ ಒಂದೊಂದು ದಿನ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ ತಿಂತೀನಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಅನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಚಪಾತಿ ತಿಂತೀನಿ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ, go ahead. It's like ದಿನ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕೋತೀವಿ ಅಂತ, like how we need different variety in terms of the clothes that we wear, the color of lipstick we choose or whatever, is the same way for the food as well. Your body is craving for a lot of variety, so if you give it more variety, it's great, it's going to have a lot of fun. But choose it. If you're getting bloated after eating millet, there is no point, so avoid it then. Probably first fix your gut health and then bring in millets. Now choose the right kind of millets. So ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ ಬರೀ ಅನ್ನ ತರ ಬೇಯಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿನ್ನಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಲವುದು ಪೌಡರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಚಪಾತಿ ಅಥವಾ ರೊಟ್ಟಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಚೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮಿಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ವೇ. It need not be just I'm eating quinoa for dinner or I'm eating kodo millet for dinner, lunch every day. ಆ ತರ ಏನು ನೆಸೆಸಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾನ್ ಜೋಳದ ದೋಸೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ರಾಗಿ ರೊಟ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮುದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ millet ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪ್ಪಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. So let there be a lot of variety in the way you make that as well, so that it doesn't become very monotonous. That's the way you have fun with food. Don't limit the millet to just eating it with sambar and making your life miserable. I have people who come and say, I've stopped eating rice, I'm only eating millets, but it's so boring, I don't enjoy my food. Yeah, obviously, na. So don't make it so there's no reason why you have to punish yourself doing it in the most boring way. So experiment, figure out different forms and formats of having it, and with various accompaniments, and there is no problem. But just eating millets will not make anybody lose weight. That's the crux of it.
That's a wonderful analogy that you gave, Anurag. So that's a good tip actually. And ನನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಎಂಫಸಿಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಮೋರ್ ದನ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಬೂಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಮನ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇವತ್ತು. ಸೊ is there anything that we can actually, is there any particular food ಅಥವಾ any drink that we can actually prepare at home that actually improves our immunity? So not just for COVID antala, in general.
Yeah, see, probably may not be a great idea. Now we are in summer in Karnataka, so not a great idea. If you're in any part of the world where it's, where there's winter or monsoon and you want to do a lot of these kadas or homemade tea or kashaya and all, it's a great way to do it. Otherwise, simply put, if you're Indians who do a lot of tadka, use a lot of masalas, and you've been avoiding it until now, please bring it back. That's your magic food or superfoods to improve your immunity. That's the way to go about it. Okay. If you've been avoiding tadkas, thinking it's fattening, please bring it back, because with your tadka, you're going to add mustard, turmeric, pepper, all of those are immune boosters. So all these supplements which are being marketed as immune boosters still have the same ingredients that we probably already have it in our kitchen, but we are not using it yet. So bring them back. I think that's the simplest way to do it. If you're somebody who likes to have a cup of milk at bedtime with turmeric, which is a very age-old practice in India, right? And if you've been avoiding it because of various reasons, just bringing that back is a great way to. The idea, Pratibha, here is that a glass of milk will actually boost your serotonin production, helps you rest well, sleep well, stress-free night. So that means you're also working on your immunity. So immunity need not just be popping in a lot of pills and a lot of kara teas and kashayams only. Even if you're working on your sleep, if you're getting your exercise every day because you've rested well, that's also a way to improve your immunity. So don't just focus on including foods and not working on the other things, which is my favorite, is the lifestyle. So if your lifestyle is wrong and just doing foods, it's not of much use. So, focus on the wholesome part of it.
That's wonderful. So ಇನ್ನೊಂದು question ನನಗೆ somebody had sent me was regarding using decaf, right? So especially ಈಗ working from home ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಜನರದ್ದು caffeine intake ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, that we all want to keep having coffee or tea, to just keep ourselves motivated ಅಂತ. So ಇವಾಗ decaf ಕುಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾ, ಅಥವಾ can we just limit our coffee intake to probably, 2 to 3, or, can I have more cups with using decaf coffee?
This is similar to saying I like sweets and use artificial sweeteners and I'll load up on my sugar intake. Tara. You're having coffee because of the caffeine, which actually stimulates your nervous system and gives you that little high or, the boost of energy, right? So if you're doing a decaf, the idea is you do a decaf beverage, and instead of doing one or two, which is sufficient if you're doing the regular one, you start doing 4, 5 of the decaf. What's the whole point? It's like using brown sugar over white sugar and using enormous amount of brown sugar because it hasn't sweetened your food. So it's the same way. Coffee or tea, you can definitely have. There's no problem having coffee or tea. For people who want to have it, who enjoy having it, please go ahead and have. Limit it to 2 a day, for example. If you're having the fruit at mid-morning, if you're having the fruit by evening, then there is no reason why you need more than 3, 4 coffees, for example, because there's no time also, right? You're having the fruit in between, or you're probably snacking on nuts in between, so you don't have to resort to a coffee. Now, the other thing is people have too much of lunch now because it's work from home. You have the luxury to sit and eat well, spend a lot of time, we overeat, obviously, making us lethargic after a meal. Then what you do is, then you resort to a coffee. You don't want to do coffee, there are already too many coffees, you do the decaf. So itarella madadra badlu, probably be mindful of how much you eat for your lunch. Office ge hogta box alli ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ತಿನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ, ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಫಿ ಅಥವಾ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Have fruits in between, so you are not having coffee or tea out of boredom. Earlier, coffee and tea is also to do with socializing, right? You take a break every now and then, go talk to your colleagues, come back and sit. So instead of doing all of that, you can still snack on your fruit, or still take the break, but you need not have to break for coffee every now and then. So my choices: don't do the decaf, do the regular coffee or tea. Limit it to 2 cups a day. There is no problem. Don't do it when you're very hungry. And if you're feeling sleepy after a meal, that just means probably you've overeaten. So cut down on that portion and eat vegetables with your meal. That way you'll not be sleepy after a meal and you don't need a coffee to keep you awake.
Okay, that's a wonderful tip. So my next question to you is regarding intermittent fasting, and idu kuda one of the questions I had got is that people wanted to know whether it is good, because it is actually overused everywhere, and a lot of people on
absolutely.
social media post about doing intermittent fasting. So what is your take on that? Is intermittent fasting really helpful, athwa it's just a myth?
Came in a little late. I was expecting this to be the first or the
Okay.
second question, honestly, because that's how it's become now. Everybody who wants to talk to a nutritionist has the same question, which is on intermittent fasting. I do this YouTube channel for myself, and this is only specifically for my clients. Andre, my idea about creating a YouTube channel was just to create content and tell people, yakane eldru ide phone ಮಾಡಿ ಇದೇ question ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. I'm like, I'll send you my YouTube link. Please go have a look at it. Okay, it is just purely to increase awareness, and these are the videos that I do based on the common questions. Food good or bad? What to eat before and after workout? Can I have coffee on waking up? Intermittent fasting good or bad? So for people who are interested to know more about it, you can go and check that out. So my name is Aruna Prasad. So it is Aruna Prasad Nutritionist. So I'll home nodare sigutte. Anyway, to quickly sum up, I think you do not really have to do intermittent fasting to lose weight. So just doing intermittent fasting will not help you lose weight, or will not turn you non-diabetic from a diabetic. Now, let's just talk about the good things, so that, because I don't think we have so much time to explain this in detail. So, intermittent fasting is all about not snacking overnight, late in the night, for example. Intermittent fasting is all about not eating out of boredom or eating unnecessarily. So if you start following these principles, okay, then I think you're doing great. You need not have to fast for 14 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours to actually feel good. If dinner becomes your last meal, then you don't really have to do intermittent fasting only. Okay, so that's the idea. If you're watching Netflix and sitting and binging on your favorite sugary food or popcorn and all, stop doing that. You're doing great to your system instead of just doing intermittent fasting, because it does not work for everybody, especially women. Okay, I think this is one really important thing I want to emphasize here is, if you are if you're in your reproductive age, what does that mean? If you're still getting your monthly periods, do not try and do intermittent fasting or any sort of such crash diets, which would further worsen your hormonal fluctuations, worsening your PMS and leading to a lot of menstrual cramps and pain and all of that. So don't do such things, okay? Our body is designed in a very different way compared to the men's body who were the subjects for intermittent fasting. I don't think were really used for as the subjects for intermittent fasting or the related papers that were published related to that, because your progesterone levels start varying in women of reproductive age, which could further worsen a lot of PCOS conditions. So do not do such generic things, which is not good. Listen to your body. If you're getting hungry on waking up, please eat. If you're not hungry, do not eat. Okay. Keep dinner as your last meal, then that's great. Do not snack unnecessarily, snack out of boredom. But if you're hungry, please go ahead and eat. That's the whole idea. You don't have to do intermittent fasting to feel great.
Okay, that's wonderful. So one of the other questions that I got, Aruna, was regarding again coffee. So we are all coffee lovers, so coffee वगैरह जास्ती questions करता है. Was coffee consumption. So is it good to have coffee first thing in the morning on like an empty stomach?
No,
अथवा
no.
is it better? Okay.
No, so no coffee or tea. No coffee or tea on waking up. Eat a fruit or some dry fruits and nuts. Your body needs something a lot more nutritious to start the day with, to kickstart your metabolism. Coffee and tea is more to do with your mind. It's just probably like a placebo effect or something that makes you feel energetic at the mind level, not for your body. So for your metabolism, you need either fruit, dry fruits and nuts or something like that. So don't do it on waking up or when hungry or after 5 in the evening.
Okay, wonderful. So we are almost close to time now. So Ivaga, one last question is regarding taking vitamin supplements. So we do all these kind of foods, but still most of us are lacking in a lot of vitamins. Like a blood test ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ we are deficit on one or the other vitamins because of course due to our environment and of course the stressful lifestyle that we all lead. So vitamin supplements, Ali, so like do you like recommend taking a multivitamin irrespective, or do you suggest like doing blood work regularly and then tune according to that, or is it okay to just take a multivitamin on a regular basis?
If you're doing a variety of foods on a regular basis, then you're doing good to your system. If you're very prone to a vitamin deficiency, it could be B12 or D, then it's important to check your levels and then take a vitamin accordingly, multivitamin. If you want to, so there is no set standard. If you're doing a broad spectrum multivitamin mineral, then it's great. There is no problem with it if you're okay to do that, but it's not a mandatory thing. If there is a deficiency, you definitely have to resort to a supplement. People come to me and say, I have a deficiency, but can't I just do with the foods? No, you have been eating foods all your life. There's still a deficiency. That means your body needs a lot more support than just through food. So that's when you take a supplement to bridge the gap. So if there is a gap, you got to bridge it. So bridge it with the right supplements. How do you know whether there is a gap? It could be the clinical symptoms, hair fall, dry skin, low energy levels, or your blood test saying that there is a deficiency.
Okay, that is wonderful. So one other last question that I got to ask you is regarding acidity. Ivaga acid reflux ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾನೇ common, especially because of our lifestyle and because of the stress levels hange, and like most of us resort to like popping up an antacid pill alva, because that is a quick fix anta. So do you have any food diets that you recommend so that you can
Okay, so antacids, if you're doing antacids over the counter without a doctor advising you for that before an antibiotic, you're doing really bad to your system. So please don't do that. And if you're managing your acidity levels with an antacid on a regular basis, again, you're not fixing the problem at the grassroots level. So home set curd is a great way to fix your acidity levels. Okay, eating a little more frequently probably is great. Avoid coffee and tea on empty stomach. Okay, do avoid a lot of spicy foods or oily foods, or even foods coming out of a packet, because it has some sort of hidden fat in it. Those could actually further trigger your acidity levels. My go-to tip at home could be, say, a glass of lemon water on waking up if you're not allergic to it, or say doing something like a jeera, saunf, ajwain ka pani after your meal. Those are great. Kokam in the right season is a great way to do it. Homestead curd at all seasons are great. Very importantly, focus on lifestyle. Again, exercise helps improve gut health. Keeping your dinner light and early is very important to improve your gut health. Sleeping enough, hydrating really well, all of these will boost your gut health. So again, gut health can't just be corrected by antacid or one superfood. It has to be a holistic approach.
Okay, that is wonderful. So yes, as Aruna was rightly mentioning, holistic, wellness is actually the key to go. So I think we're almost out of time now. So thank you so much, Aruna. So ಇವತ್ತು ನೀವು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು you've given a lot of important tips. And ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, I should remind you, so Aruna's YouTube channel has a lot of important information, so I'm going to post her YouTube channel's link along with this video on her Facebook page, so please do check it out. She has actually posted some really good useful information, and she has also debunked a lot of myths, and some of them we discussed in our show, and it's quite useful, and in fact I find it quite useful as well. So Aruna, thank you so much once again. It was really wonderful to have you today, so thank you so much. So nimge ಹೇಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ತು ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು?
Thank you so much, Pratibha. It was really sweet of you to have me over for World Health Day. Food is something that we are. I people keep asking, when should I look after my food intake? So my youngest client is a 6-month-old baby who just started having solid foods. Does not mean the baby has a problem. It just means that the parents are aware of the importance of good food. So it starts from that time, probably even before we are conceived in our mother's this thing, right? So it starts from there until our last breath. We have to focus on the kind of food we eat. So probably don't get bogged down by what the world is talking about, just the social media or a lot of influencers who do not have a scientific explanation for it. So go talk to an expert who's qualified enough. Please watch what you eat, and we are made to move, so please move a lot more. If you're eating, you are also supposed to be exercising. It's just as simple as that. So take care of all of this, and thank you so much for having over. It was really nice talking to you, and I hope people really start implementing these small tips. We keep hearing, but the problem is with implementation. So I tried and kept it very simple so that people start implementing it, so that we all make a difference to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, right? So we tend to all like complex things, but like you rightly mentioned, right? It's all very simple, and I think we try to overcomplicate things. So instead of that, just let's stick to our roots, and I think that will solve most of the problems in that. So thank you so much. And on that note, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, thank you so much ಇವತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಕೇಳಿದಂತಹ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ, and thank you for all of you who sent all these wonderful questions as well. So ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಶ್ರೀಗಂಧದ ಗುಡಿಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So in case you missed watching live, so you can also go and catch up later. So thank you so much for watching, and wishing you all a very very happy World Health Day. So I hope this year turns out to be a healthy year for all of you ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. So thank you so much. Thank you, Aruna, once again.
Thanks again. Thank you for listening to me.